dear students, I am Dr. Shikha Pandey, Associate Professor from Institute of Aeronautical Engineering. So today I will discuss you about the site selection for landfill. In the previous classes, I have discussed you about the landfills. Which type of waste we will put in the landfill and what is the landfill. So basically, if we talk about the what is the meaning of the landfill, it's nothing but a very simple thing, that is it is like a physical facility that is used for the disposal of residuals or solid waste on the surface of the earth, like on the open surface of the earth, to avoid the open dumping and to burning of the waste. The government has added this new concept of landfill. So in landfill, what we'll do, it is an open land kind of thing, and where the waste should be disposed of and the solid waste residue on the surface of the earth. And it is like a physical facilities that can be used for the disposal of residual solid waste. So the residual solid waste can be disposed on the surface of the earth, and physical facility will be there where it will be available on the any outskirt of the any city. For every city, it should be provision has been made in the Municipal Solid Waste Management Act, so that on every city on the outskirt, this landfill should be made, which is a kind of physical facility. So it is used for the disposal of residuals, like disposal of solid waste that will be residue, like that will be left over after the complete degradation process. So that it will be outside the skirt of the city, where it will be all the waste should be disposed on the open dumping site. Okay. Landfilling is the process by which residual solid waste is placed on the landfills, and landfills will include it's not just a dumping of waste on an open land. It includes like monitoring of incoming waste stream, like how much amount of waste is coming and which type of waste is coming. Either it is a biodegradable waste or a plastic waste or a disposals or a waste residue from any waste treatment or waste treatment technology, or the waste that is coming after the whole unit operation. So, and then what we'll do, then the compaction of waste will be there. So on the basis of the waste nature, that landfill will be made on the small cell will be there. In that cell, the compaction of the waste will be there, and installation of landfill for the environmental monitoring and control facilities. So then after what happened, installation of landfill will be there for the environmental monitoring and the control facility. So everything on the landfill is under the environmental monitoring condition. So everything will be monitored by the municipal people, so that what is the age of landfill, which type of waste is coming for that particular landfill, and what is the degradation process for this landfill, and then the placements and compaction of waste. And the waste should be kept on landfill in a compacted manner. In a small cell will be there. On that cell, the solid waste will be kept. And then installation of landfill for the environmental monitoring and control facility. You can see this is the picture of a secured landfill. So landfill will be done for the following type of waste. So this type of waste should be used in the landfill. First, we will discuss about which type of waste will be suitable for the landfill. So commingled waste, like some mixed waste will be there, like mixed waste like paper, plastic, and like some discarded material, and construction and demolition waste. So that waste which is not suitable for the waste processing. Some paper waste which cannot be which will degrade, but after some time it will be remain in the environment. So this commingled waste means mixed waste, mostly construction and demolition waste will be there. And then pre-processing and post-processing rejects from waste processing site, and non-hazardous waste not being processed or recycled. So the non-hazardous waste which will be not be able to processed, or which will be not be able to recycle. So recycling facility will be not available for those type of non-degradable waste, non-hazardous waste. So this type of waste can be suitable for the landfills. So the pre-processing and post-processing rejects from waste processing site. Sometimes on waste processing site during the haul container system, some waste has been discarded during the pre-processing unit, or some waste has been discarded or rejects after the post-processing unit. So all the waste that will be discarded, or that will be either non-hazardous, or that will be a mixed waste, that will be not suitable for the waste processing, all this type of waste will go for the landfill sites. Obviously, if we will be able to degrade the waste, we will be able to recycling the waste, and we will be able to reuse the waste, then that waste will already minimized. But what happened to those waste which cannot be reused, recycled, or reduction will be there? So these type of waste will send to the landfills, and this landfill is situated to the outskirt of every city, where the waste from the each city has been put it, and then the treatment process has been used. Like for construction and demolition waste will be there, we will put on this waste on the landfilling site, and after some year, after 10 years, maybe it will be degraded, or we can utilize, we can recycle these things again for some construction works. And then next is what happened. Landfilling usually not done for the following waste stream in the municipal solid waste, like bio-waste, garden waste, and dry recyclables. Obviously, bio-waste and garden waste will go for the aerobic digestion, where we'll get, or composting will be there for this type of waste. Composting will be there, and from composting we will get compost, which is very much useful soil conditioner. So this two type of waste. Dry recyclable means glass. As we know, glass is 100% recyclable. Next is the plastic. So this type of waste cannot go for the landfilling site. And this type of waste, these three type of waste can go for the landfilling site. And this bio waste and garden waste, they are organic in nature, so we cannot send this type of waste to the landfill site. We will utilize this waste from its generation point or to the disposal site, or to the MRF location facility site. Okay. Now we'll talk about the types of landfills. Like sanitary landfill is the engineered facility for the disposal of municipal solid waste. Is two type of landfill will be there. First is the sanitary landfill, which is like an engineered facility will be there. Like everything will be properly managed, to either from the collection of waste, for the monitoring of its environmental quality, then collection of methane. Everything is engineered and monitored for the disposal of MSW. And secured landfill is again the same landfill, and that landfill is used for the disposal of hazardous waste. Hazardous waste is those waste which will be having some properties of either toxicity, either it is a very toxic in nature, or it is a very highly reactive in nature, or highly corrosive. So this type of waste will go for the secured landfill for the disposal of hazardous waste. And next we'll discuss about the municipal solid waste, like MSW, municipal solid waste landfill. Those landfill which will accept the MSW, that is called as municipal solid waste. So landfill accepts some household waste as well as some other waste. So this type of landfill is called as municipal solid waste landfill. Next is the managed landfill. Landfill composed mainly of clean fills, but also construction and demolition waste with very light contaminants. This will be involved construction and demolition waste with very light contaminants. Like that, next will be construction and demolition landfills. So the landfill where we will put the objects or the material which is involved in the construction and demolition activity. So what are the type of material is like the material like wood products, asphalt, plaster boards, insulation, and other that can be disposed to the land. So the material, the things that involved in the construction activity. So this type of waste can be go for the construction and demolition landfills. Landfills which will accept the material that will be used in the construction and demolition works. So its example is asphalt, plasterboards, insulations and other to be disposed onto the land. So for the site selection, what are the different criteria that we'll keep in mind while selecting a site for the landfills? For the landfill site selection, first is the location. Location criteria, like which place it will be available. No residential area will be nearby to the place. Like airport will also not nearby to the landfill site. We should keep in mind for everything, like no hospital, no residential area or airports or some ecologically sensitive zone like some national park, like some wetlands should not be nearby to this location criteria. So these are the criteria that we should follow for selecting a location for the landfill. First thing is then we'll keep in mind is like that will be not be nearby to any ecologically sensitive zone. In ecologically sensitive zone, we'll consider national park, some wetlands, some sanctuaries. So they, if landfill will be nearby to this place, it is going to fully contaminate these ecological sensitive zones or ecological sensitive area. That's why location criteria, we should keep these things in the mind. Second most point is that, so in location criteria, this should be keep in mind while selecting a place for the landfill site. Next is the search area. We should search the area which will be fulfilling all the criteria. So these are a very important topics to discuss for selecting a site as a landfill. Next is the development of a list of potential sites. So after these two checklists, we'll go for the next checklist. That is, on these two bases, we will select some potential areas, some potential sites that can be suitable for the landfilling. So data collection for potential site. So when we will collect some areas that will be capable of the potential site, that should be able to develop as a potential site. Then next what we'll do, we'll collect the data. We will collect the data. And which type of data? Environmental data, like preliminary data. So data collection will involve the rainfall criteria, average temperature, average pressure, what is the annual rainfall of that particular place, and what will be the normal vegetation, what will be the normal local vegetation of this particular area. Then next we'll do is the field visit for the local verification and identification of potential site. And after collecting everything, this should be done on the paperworks only. So after collecting the data or after seeing the temperature, the environmental condition will be suitable for the landfilling site or not, then what to do? Then you should go and visit the potential site for the identification of this particular area, and then selection of best ranked site. After that, you will select the best ranked site. Site selection. Then preliminary environmental impact investigation. And then final site selection. So preliminary environmental impact investigation means preliminary will collect the data of what could be the environmental impact when we will construct a landfill to the particular area. So this will be like preliminary data collection will be there, and then final site selection. Final site selection is will be selected after passing these many steps. So after passing these many steps of the location criteria, then area search, then after the development of what could be the potential site, which site could be having more potential, and then after data collection for the potential sites, field visit for the local verification and identification of potential site, and then best ranked site and preliminary environmental impact investigation, and after the final site selection. So you can see this is a table that will show the criteria for identifying suitable land for sanitary landfill. So what could be the criteria? So that I have discussed like some coastal regulation or wetland or critical habitat area or sensitive eco-fragile area and plains are recorded from the last 100 years. So what first criteria is about the coastal regulation zones should be followed, whatever the coastal CRZ will be given. Coastal regulation zones means some regulation will be there, so that will be related with the coastal area. Like the for the coastal area, nearby to coastal area, you cannot make a landfill. So if the sea will be there or some coastal area will be there, you cannot make a landfill. Like the same thing will be that is wetlands. Next is the wetlands. Wetlands are the natural ponds. So if wetland will be nearby, then also you cannot make the sanitary landfill. Is not permitted within these identified area. Then sensitive eco-fragile area and floodplains, that should be recorded from the last 100 years. Not like this last 50 years before it is there, but now it is not there. No. It should be followed a data from the last 100 years. So landfill will not be permitted. In this area, landfill will not be permitted at any cost. Next, in case of river, so it will be 100 meter away from the floodplains, pond, lake and water bodies, like 200 meter. 200 meter it should be away from the pond or lake or any water body. Then non-mandatory water channel like canal and drainage will be like 30 meter from this place. It should be away. Highway or rail line and water supply well 500 meter from the center line. Next is the habitation, like all landfill facility will be 500 meter. Earthquake zone 500 meter from the fault line fractures. Floodplain areas like sanitary landfill site not be permitted. Obviously, we have discussed about it. The flood prone zone will be there. So in that zone, there will be a threat of flood. So in this case, landfill will not be permitted. Then if the water table will be at the highest level, so then what is the distance, like the bottom liner of the landfill should be above 2 meter from the highest water table. Next is like airport. It should be more than 20 kilometer, from airport. So these are the criteria that will be for the identifying a suitable land for the sanitary landfill. Now see, this is the again a picture like a human settlement, like resident will be there. So it should be 500 meter. 500 meter distance should be there from the human settlement or any area. Like for highways also 500 meter distance should be there. In pond, lakes or water bodies 200 meter distance. Then from airport 20 kilometer distance should be follow. So these are the minimum criteria that must be followed while designing a site as a landfill. From human settlement 500 meter, from highways 500 meter, from pond, lake or water bodies 200 meter. But from airport it should be minimum 20 kilometer distance should be there for the selecting a site as a landfill. So these are the location criteria that must be followed for selecting any site for the potential of landfill. So it should be followed 500 meter distance, minimum 500 meter distance from any highway, minimum 500 distance from any human settlement like residential area, and 20 kilometer distance from the airport, and 200 meter distance from the local pond, lake or water bodies. So next is the search area. So should ideally be located within the municipal boundary. Obviously this area, this landfill site should be located. It should be, location should be there in the MSW site, MSW boundary. The extent of such area is usually governed by the economy of waste transportation. Means it should be cost effective also. Because for this effective waste management, one more thing is very important is like the cost management. See, if the landfill will be very much far away from the city, or it will be very far away from the location of waste generation, then the hauling of the waste will cost too much. Then if government will be like spending more money on this waste management facility. That's why the economy of the waste transportation, because in one hauling means in a haul container system, in 3 or 4 hauling, the whole waste management process should be completed, because in many time if the container will come and go, so fuel will be burned. So to minimize the uses of fuel, to minimize the economy of waste transportation, the area should be like, it should be nearby to the city waste generation site or haul container system whole operation site. Next is the development of list of potential sites. So after demarcating the search area and considering the location criteria, area having potential for site development should be identified while mapping. So while mapping, what we should do, we should be like some location criteria or the area having potential for site development. Like for location criteria, area having potential should be developed. So the area which is having potential for developing as a potential site for the wetland should be developed. And in area where land is scarce or degraded site, such as abandoned quarry site or old waste dump site, can be considered. So land is scarce means the site is not much fertile. So this type of land can be used, or it should be degraded site or abandoned site, that will be a ruined site will be there. So this type of land should be used for the dumping of waste management. So places where the land is scarce, the land cannot be used or the land will be degraded. So this type of quarry site or old waste dump site, it can be considered for the landfill. So rough guideline for sanitary landfill size. So waste quantity like million tons per design of life of landfill. So total quantity of waste we are following is the total million tons per design, that is the life of a landfill. So if it will be less than 1 if it will be less than 1.0 million tons per design life of a landfill. So it will be required 50 to 20 hectare of land. So it will be required like 50 to 20 hectare of land. If the waste quantity is between 1 to 2 million tons per design life of a landfill, so this will require to 20 to 30 million required hectare of land will be required. So like this 2 to 3 is the million tons per design life of a landfill, where the total hectare of land will be required is 30 to 40 hectare of land will be required. So if it will be more than 3 waste quantity, million tons per design life of a landfill, so the required site will be like 40 hectares of total land will be required. So the depending upon the waste quantity, like for a city, like a big city or a small city or a metropolitan city, which type of city will be there. So the waste quantity will be like counted in the million tons per design life of a landfill. So in this way, what could be the total area that will be required for the waste quantity? So if the waste will be more than 3 million ton per design life of a landfill, then the required site will be more than 40 hectares. So to exclude areas which do not meet specified criteria, the following data can be collected. So the data collection of the potential site. For a potential site, if a site, we know that this site will have a potential of landfill. Okay, this particular area will have the potential to be developed as a landfill. So for this, what could be the data that should be collected? So first is the topographic map, like contour map for that particular area. Then soil map. Then what will be the types of soil? Which type of soil will be there? Type of soil. Data should be collected. Then land use and LC and LU plans. Then water use plans, floodplain maps, geological map, and then Aerial photographs like satellite image, Google Maps, then groundwater maps, rainfall data, windrows data, seismic data, and road maps. So these data should be collected. So for and the data will give information about its previous background of the particular place, and what could be the effect if we develop a potential site as a landfill site. So the topographic map, soil map, land use plans, water use plan, flood plain maps, geological map, then the aerial photography, satellite imagery, Google Maps, groundwater maps, rainfall data, windrows maps, seismic data, road maps. All this should be collected. So before selecting any site, will have a potential as a landfill site. Field visit for local verification and identification of potential site. All features observed in various maps will be confirmed during the site visit. So the possible site should be evaluated on the basis of topographical condition and the suitability of landfill sites. So first is what we should consider is a sufficient land size, then flat area with low inclination, connection to highways and condition of the access road, then floods during the monsoon time, flood in the monsoon area, monsoon season, then land use and soil type, like the water is the depth of the land and what type of soil will be there, then the soil can absorb the water. Then depth of the groundwater table, like as observed in the open well or bore wells, information on the subground from clay, stone, sandpit, clay, stone and sandpit information, then crossing of electrical line, then actual settlement pattern, like eventual new or informal settlements. So when during the field visit, during the local verification of identifying that area as a potential landfill site, these should be keep in mind, like sufficient land size, like the size will be sufficient for that much of waste or not. Then the flat area with low inclination, connection to highways and condition of the access roads, flood during the monsoons, land use and soil type, depth to groundwater table as observed in open well or bore wells, information on the subground from clay, stone or sand pits. Next is the crossing of electrical line and actual settlement pattern, eventually new or informal settlement. So these are like actual settlement pattern, crossing of electrical lines, information of subground from clay, stone or sandpit, depth to the groundwater table as observed in open well or bore well, land use and soil types, flooding during the monsoon. And next is the to highways and condition of the access road, flat area with low inclination, then sufficient land size. So these are the very important point that should be, these features should be observed in various map while confirming the site as a landfill site. Next is the how to select the best ranked site. So the selection of most appropriate sites based on the site sensitivity index, based on the guideline given by CPCB, that is Central Pollution Control Board, in 2003. So the identified sites are ranked on the basis of defined criteria for the preliminary environmental impact investigation and final site selection. So site sensitivity index is the important parameter. This will be like site sensitivity index is the guideline that has been given by the CPCB. CPCB is the Central Pollution Control Board, and the identified sites are ranked on the basis of defined criteria. So on the basis of defined criteria, the identified sites can be ranked for the preliminary environmental impacts investigation and final site selection. Preliminary environmental impacts investigation and final site selection. So preliminary environmental impact investigation will involve like 2 or 3 sites may be chosen for the preliminary environmental impact investigation on the basis of ranking score. So on the basis of this site sensitivity index, a ranking will be given. So in which and that site sensitivity index will be calculated on the basis of the defined criteria in the preliminary data collection part. So during the preliminary data collection part, all data should be collected, and all preliminary data and all background data. So with that background data, we will collect the site sensitivity index. That site sensitivity index will be used for final selection of a point as a landfill. So on this basis, 2 or 3 sites may be chosen for the preliminary environmental impact investigation. 2 or 3 sites will be selected, and it should be chosen for the preliminary environmental impact investigation for the basis of the ranking score. So what are the ranking score will be given to the particular site, the environmental impact investigation will be carried out. So the impact of the sanitary landfill will be assessed and potentially quantified according to the national rules and local condition. So the impact of sanitary landfill will be assessed and potentially quantified as per the national rules and local conditions. So then after the final site selection, now we are at the point where how do this final site selection? So the final site selection of a site from amongst the best rank on the basis of site sensitivity index. Site sensitivity indexed among them, the best ranked will be selected, and it will be done by comparing the environmental impact of the particular area, then social acceptance, land availability, transportation cost, and then sanitary landfilling cost. So these 5 points will be important. Like after calculating the site sensitivity index, the environmental impact, what could be the impact on the environment with that landfills, then social acceptance, like the impact on the society, land availability, that much of land will be there or not, and next is the transportation cost, what could be the transportation cost will be involved in the whole container system. Then total landfilling cost. Total landfill cost. What could be the total amount that is involved for this whole landfill? Then after you can select for the final one place for the landfill. Next, the landfill will be prepared for the drainage away from the landfills. Next, the landfill site preparation. So landfill site preparation, what should we do? We should think about the drainage away from the landfill. So, and then excavation, deep excavation so that the leachate should be collected. Next, the placement of monitoring equipment. Like monitoring should be done 20 to 25 years after site closure, like methane collection for methane gas. Then groundwater quality and then air quality. So these are the final things that should be followed while selecting a site as a landfill. So the drainage should be away from the landfill. So the drainage of the city, it will be not nearby to the landfill. Then excavation, deep excavation is not there in the landfill. Placement of monitoring equipments. Monitoring equipments will be required to collect the leachate from the landfills. So the monitoring should be done for every 20 to 25 years after site closure. After the closing of the site also, that monitoring should be done up to the 20 to 25 years. Then whatever the groundwater quality of the particular area and air quality also. So these are the landfill site preparations. Now these are the references of some of the textbook that I have been followed for this study. If you want to depth study of all this topic, you can go to this textbook and you will find many depth knowledge about these topics. So now I am concluding my lecture at this point. Like I have discussed about the site selection of landfill. What could be the criteria that should be followed for the selection of a site as a landfill? What are the environmental conditions? What are the soil condition, groundwater criteria, air quality, and what will be the location criteria for the landfill for this. Then we will develop a particular site as a potential of landfill. So now if you have any queries, if you have any question, you will write in the comment box, or you can directly mail me on my given mail ID, shikha.pandey@gmail.com. Thank you for today's lecture.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.